Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine and safe at home. So this is the video of your English 1, lesson 4.7, the sword and the stone. So students, I think you all know the meaning of sword, right? So sword means talwar in Hindi. So let us begin by reading the lesson and followed by the explanation. King Arthur, famous in legends and history as one of the bravest and noblest kings of Britain, grew up as an orphaned youth before destiny intervened in the form of his protector and guardian, Merlin the magician, to reveal his true identity to the people of Britain. So, students, King Arthur was very brave, strong, and noble king of Britain, but grew as an orphan. Orphan means a person who does not have mother or father. But as a protector or a guardian of King Arthur, Merlin the magician appeared in front of the people of Britain to reveal how Arthur became King Arthur, who was the king of Britain. In ancient Britain, at time when the land was invaded by wild barbarians, the good and noble Lord Uther fought them bravely and drove them away from his land. The people made him king of Britain and gave him the title Pendragon, meaning dragon's head. King Uther Pendragon ruled Britain wisely and well. The people were content, but very soon the king died. It was thought that he had been poisoned by some traitors. There was no heir to the throne of Britain. The powerful lords and knights who had been kept under control by King Uther now began to demand that one of them should be crowned king of Britain. Rivalry grew amongst the lords, and the country as a whole began to suffer. Armed robbers roamed the countryside, pillaging farms and fields. People felt unsafe and insecure in their own homes. Fear gripped the country, and lawlessness prevailed over the divided kingdom. So, students, in ancient time, wild barbarians means uncivilized or wild people just came in Britain to rule over Britain, but Lord Uther fought with them bravely and sent them back to their places. Then the people of Britain made him the king of Britain and titled him with Pendragon, which means dragon's head. And very soon the king Uther died, and it was thought that he was poisoned by traitors. Traitors means people who are against their countries or against the king. And then there was no one to look after the throne of Britain. So the people who were under King Uther, like soldiers or ministers who were there in the kingdom, started demanding the throne. So now lords and knights, that means soldiers, are against each other and they were fighting against each other for the throne. And the people of Britain had to suffer because of this. Armed robbers used to come any time and rob their houses, and they used to feel very unsafe and insecure in their own houses because there were no one to look after the law or to fight against that, because the kingdom was divided between lords and knights, because all they wanted was to become the king of Britain. Now let us see what happens. Nearly 16 years had passed since the death of Lord Uther. All the lords and knights of Britain had assembled at the great church of London for Christmas. On Christmas morning, just as they were leaving the church, a strange sight drew their attention. In the churchyard was a large stone, and on it an anvil of steel, and in the steel a naked sword was held, and about it was written in letters of gold, "Whoso pulleth out this sword is by right of birth King of England." Many of the knights could not hold themselves back, fancying themselves as future kings. They rushed to the stone and attempted to draw the stone from its steel anvil. They pulled with all their might, but none of them could so much as move the sword. Obviously, the man who might draw the sword and prove himself to be our rightful king is not amongst us this morning, said the archbishop. However, every man who wishes to try his hand at drawing the sword is free to do so for the next few days. He who draws the sword will be crowned king, and to celebrate the appearance of this magnificent sword and prepare ourselves for the arrival of our future king, we will hold a magnificent tournament on New Year's Day. So, here 16 years have been passed since the Lord or the King Uther had died. So, on the Christmas day, everyone gathered in the church. While leaving, they all saw something strange in the churchyard. Churchyard means a land or area which surrounds the church is known as churchyard. So, what did the people see in the churchyard? They saw that there is a sword which is inside an anvil. Anvil is a block of iron, and on that anvil it was written as, "Whoso pulleth out the sword is by right of birth King of England." That means whoever will pull the sword out from this anvil will be the King of England. So after reading this, everyone started to feel or see or imagine themselves as the King of England, and everyone went there and tried their hand to remove the sword from the anvil. They used all their power, all their strength, but no one could remove that sword. By seeing this, Archbishop means a father in a church, as we have pandits in our temples. So what did he say? He said that might be the person who is the King of Britain is not present here with us right now. So we'll do one thing. On the New Year's Day, we will have a magnificent or a big tournament, and let us see who wins and who becomes the King of Britain. Till that time, whoever wants to try their hand to remove the sword from the anvil, they are free to do that. Now let us proceed further. On New Year's Day, a great number of young and brave knights gathered to attend the church service. After that, they met in the field nearby to participate in great tournament. Dukes and counts, earls, barons and knights crowded on to the field. Among them was Sir Ector, a noble knight. He was accompanied by his two sons, Sir Kay and young Arthur. Kay was his own son who had been recently knighted. Arthur, whom he had brought up as a foster son, was actually an orphan whom he had raised as his own child. The good Sir Ector loved both his sons dearly. As Sir Kay was preparing to join the tournament, he realized that he has left his sword behind at home. Hastily, he summoned his younger brother and said to him, "Arthur, you want me to win this tournament, don't you? Then you must help me out. Take my horse and gallop home as fast as you can. Get my sword and rush back here at once." "I am going," called Arthur, rushing off at once. "You shall have your sword sooner than you think." As he rushed past the church, a glint of steel caught his eye, the blade of a sword shining brightly in the morning sun. The sword was mounted on an anvil on top of a block of marble right in the middle of the churchyard. It was the magic sword in the stone, but Arthur knew nothing about it. All he saw was a sword that was available for taking. "Kay shall have his sword straight away," Arthur said to himself. He ran up to the stone, seized the sword by the handle, and drew it out effortlessly. He rushed back to his brother and handed the sword to him breathless with excitement. So on New Year's Day, all the people in the Britain, including the lords, the knights, the soldiers, everyone was present in the field for the tournament. Amongst them, there was Sir Ector, who came with his two sons, that is Sir Kay and young Arthur. Kay was his own son, but young Arthur was his foster child. Foster means he was adopted by Sir Ector, but he raised him as his own child. He loved both his sons equally. So Sir Kay was preparing for the tournament, and while preparing, he just realized that he has left his sword at home. So he asked young Arthur to go home, run as fast as he can, and get the sword for him. As young Arthur ran to take the sword, he saw that there is a sword in the middle of the churchyard in the anvil. But he had no idea about the sword. At that moment, he just thought that there is a sword in the middle of the stone. So he has to just take that sword and give it to his brother so that his brother could win the tournament. So he went near the anvil. He held on the handle of the sword and removed it very easily and took it to his brother and gave it to him. Let's see what happens next. You are back very soon, Sir Kay said to him. But hey, this is not my sword. No, it isn't, smiled Arthur. I thought it would take me too long to get home and bring your sword. I found the sword in the courtyard. It looked good, and I thought you could use it just for today. We will, of course, put it back when the games are over. Sir Kay stood speechless, staring at his younger brother. He knew all about the magic sword and what it signified, but Arthur was unaware of it all. Arthur had always been a brave and valiant boy, and he had excelled in fencing and archery. He adored his father and his half brother, and his dream was to become the squire to his dashing brother. And now, without even knowing what it implied, Arthur had drawn the magic sword from the stone. Kay's mind was working rapidly. He actually held the sword of the stone in his hand, the very same sword that the youngest and the best knights could not so much as grip or get hold of. Sir Kay seized the sword and ran to their father, leaving a bewildered Arthur behind him. He said to Sir Ector, Father, father, this is the sword of the stone, and I have it in my hand. I am the rightful king of Britain. So, when young Arthur gave that sword to Sir Kay, he realized that it was not his sword and he was back very soon with the sword. So he asked him that, from where did you get that sword? Then young Arthur said that, while going home, I saw there was a sword in the churchyard. So I thought that, in spite of going all the way home and bringing the sword, I should take that sword and give it to you, and whenever we'll finish the tournament, we'll keep that sword back there in the churchyard. So after hearing young Arthur, Sir Kay was very surprised because he knew everything about that sword and what it meant. But here, in the second place, young Arthur did not know anything about that sword. He was a brave person and he always imagined himself as a companion of his elder brother. Sir Kay just took that sword from young Arthur's hand and ran towards its father, that is Sir Ector, and he said that, Father, father, here is that sword in my hand, and I am the king of Britain. Now let us see what happens. Sir Ector was a wise man. How did you get hold of the sword, son? He asked his eldest born. What does that matter? I have it in my hand. It was meant to be mine. Isn't that enough? Kay retorted angrily. That's not enough, said the father quietly. How did you get hold of the sword? I have got it, and that's what matters, Kay replied, stubborn as ever. Well then, come with me, Sir Ector said, and led his son inside the great church, which was now empty. Taking the holy book from the choir, Sir Ector said to his son, swear on the holy book that you drew the sword from the stone. Sir Kay lowered his eyes. He could not face his father now. How did you come by the sword, son? Sir Ector asked him once again. Arthur brought it to me, father, said Kay, still with his eyes lowered. Bring Arthur here, and let the three of us go to the churchyard, Sir Ector told him. We have to know the truth about this. Soon the three of them were at the churchyard.